This is Robert Kraft, and I'm your host on SNN Network. And joining me right now is David Johnson. He is the chairman and CEO of Enveric Biosciences. It's a publicly traded company. The symbol is ENVB on NASDAQ. David, thank you for joining me today. How you doing?
Hey, Robert, I'm doing great, thanks. Good to be with you.
It's good to have you. So, this is your first time coming on, and usually we start off with an overview in history, but we're recording this interview on March 11th. Just yesterday, the company put out some news that the company has signed a definitive agreement to acquire exclusive license for novel molecules from diverse biotech. That's the title. So love to get some color on this. Tell us about this news that you guys put out yesterday.
Yeah, I'd love to. But why don't I just take a brief step back to ensure that your audience understands. So in Enveric Biosciences, our vision is to develop novel therapeutic drugs to deal with the side effects of cancer therapy with naturally occurring compounds. And so I think that's an important backdrop as we look at the announcement we made yesterday. And we're excited about it, obviously. So this is an ability to have new options over and above our current formulations to address these indications. Indications like radiation-induced dermatitis or chemo-induced peripheral neuropathy. What the diverse deal does is allows us to have 5 existing molecules that have existing compounds, but have a conjugation platform to create an ability to link these through a synthesization process and target them directly at these specific areas that we're going after in the support care network. And so we're excited. I'm a big believer that in R&D, you need a lot of shots on goal. And this provides us with a new shot on goal to address these indications.
Very good. All right. Well, then, coming back to my original question on or what I usually ask at the top, overview in history, you gave that a nice overview. So how did the company get to where it's currently at today in order to do deals like this?
Yep. So on December 30th, we consummated a merger with a company by the name of Ameri Holdings. And Ameri Holdings was an IT services company. And so congruent with the close of that transaction, Ameri Holdings was spun off into a private entity, and we continue to trade on NASDAQ under the name of Enveric Biosciences. So as a public company, we have traded for only 3 months, but it's been a busy 3 months. Within that 3 months, we've enhanced our balance sheet by raising $23 million of capital. We've progressed our clinical programs, including what we talked about a little earlier. We've partnered with a number of key institutions. We've built a leadership team and a board and a scientific advisory board, which is really the who's who of this area. And we've expanded our scientific options. And I think diverse is really a good example. So a lot has been accomplished in the first 3 months of trading on a public exchange.
Very good. All right. Well, then what would you say makes the company unique and different compared to some of your peers out there?
Yeah, listen, I think it's targeting these supportive care indications that we're going after. When we did the research a couple of years ago and really started to delve into where, think of us as a patient-centric company. We look for ways to help patients, but there needs to be a commercial play here as well. And so along with that is looking at the size of the markets, looking at the current standard of care, and understanding what clinical research has gone into these sectors. And when you look at radiation dermatitis or chemo-induced peripheral neuropathy or cancer-related distress, nausea, vomiting, many other areas in this area that patients, unfortunately, are cured from cancer on the one side, but live with a very difficult quality of life on the other side. And when we look at the standard of care, it's really low. When we look at the clinical innovation that's happened over the years, it's been very small. And so to address these multi-billion-dollar markets with novel therapeutic agents, starting with cannabinoids, but working through to other areas. We think that in cancer-related distress, the ability to look at the psychedelic market and things like psilocybins and others that come out of the psychedelic area. And we've looked at a number of other ingredients that have tremendous evidence-based medicine and publications behind them to address these. That's the uniqueness of this company. It's patient centricity, looking after large markets and putting a strong scientific team together to create an efficacious solution for these patients. I think that's what really defines us, Robert.
Very good. So I also have to ask, I mean, who would you say is some of your closest comps? You know, if somebody was to say, you know, all right, I'm looking at Enveric Biosciences, but who are some of the companies that are similar in the space that maybe people have heard of that you can look to?
You know, there's not a lot. I mean, that's the beauty of what we're targeting. I always say supportive care indications aren't the sexiest part of oncology. Clearly, you know, being in a company that has one molecule that has an ability to cure some part of cancer, that's a big deal. But what we're doing is we're addressing an area that just hasn't been addressed in the past. I think, listen, I think for all of us, the comp that we all like to look at is GW Pharma, right? And I think as we've looked at GW Pharma, who have been the beacon in this industry, what they've done, how they've done it, recent news of Jazz Pharmaceuticals purchasing GW Pharma for as we all know, a very, very big number, it validates the fact that if you formulate a natural occurring compound, in this case cannabinoids, to address a specific indication that has had very little innovation and is an unmet medical need, good things are going to happen. And I think you have to use GW as a comp in where they were, what they did, and how they got there. And so not a lot specifically around our indications, but definitely looking at the bigger picture. I think all of us look at GW Pharma, that why we're addressing larger needs than they are. Why not look at that as the right type of valuation as we move down the road?
Very good. And what's your background? I mean, how'd you come into all this?
So I guess you would call me a life sciences executive. I spent the first 25 years of my career in life sciences, large pharmaceutical companies, med tech companies, rising up to being the CEO of a global medical device company, which was a $5 billion market cap with 9,000 employees around the world. And, you know, we built that business from, when I got involved, $180 million EBITDA business to a $520 million EBITDA business over approximately an 8-year period. And so had some good success in running that global business. I've lived and worked in the United States, in Canada, in Europe. And so really a global executive. In the last 10 years, I have spent all of my time either as a small investor, a board member, an advisor, and in some cases running small microcap business, private and the public environments. And you know, it was really a group of past shareholders who came to me approximately a year and a half ago and told me about this endeavor and asked if I would lead it. And I got very excited about what we could do. And here we are. I think we're in a really nice place and a foundation to be able to take this to the next level.
And David, from what you can tell us, what would you say are some of the company's value catalysts now for the rest of the year, or at least moving forward in the next few months?
Well, I think you've got to look at a number of different things, right? So thing number one, from a financial base, we've really got, you know, unlike a lot of reverse mergers, we have $20 million plus of capital on the balance sheet. We have no debt and we have strong liquidity. So we have a really nice financial base to start from. We have looked at, and we continue to look at, the markets that we're serving as large multi-billion-dollar markets. Our clinical programs are right now in glioblastoma, where we have had IRB approval at the Raven Institute in Tel Aviv to do a phase 1, phase 2 study, which we believe will be in the clinic in the second half of 2021. We are in the, I'll call, discovery / preclinical stage of our radiation dermatitis project, and have identified both a center of excellence and a primary investigator to lead that. And we also think we can be in the clinic by the end of 2021. And then right behind that is our chemo-induced peripheral neuropathy initiative, where we're still in the discovery stages, but have identified a center of excellence and a primary investigator. So both being in the clinic, starting to enhance the diverse bio assets that we have, and continuing to leverage our strong base going forward. I think that's what you're looking at, Robert, as we take the company forward.
And with that, David, where can my audience go and follow along the Enveric Biosciences story?
So if you go onto our website at enveric.com, You can register there under investors to get all of the updates that you will see in any news releases that we have, and share our presentation, which is on that website, and share the story at the same time. I think that's the best place for people to go.
David, thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. Good luck, stay safe, and I look forward to our next update.
Thanks, Robert. It's a pleasure.